I'd like to talk to you today about not being so strict with yourself, not being so hard on yourself. And this is something that I really need to try to do as well. So the other day, as I was recording a podcast for you, I remember talking about how good I thought my wife's English had become. And if I was to describe her current level of English, I would say it's very good. I wouldn't say it was amazing, and there's no way that I'd say it was, it's nowhere near fluent or anything like that. But I'm impressed. And that doesn't mean to say that there aren't mistakes. She makes lots of mistakes, to be perfectly honest. In almost every sentence, probably, there's some kind of small mistake, but they're minor mistakes. And just, she's able to communicate what she wants to say most of the time, 98% of the time, I'd say. And sometimes she says like a sentence and it just comes out perfectly and sounds incredibly natural. But yeah, it's not perfect, but that doesn't mean I'm not impressed with her. That doesn't mean that when I'm listening to her speaking English that I don't, that I'm not impressed. Because I am. Now, in the past, when I've described my Japanese to you, I always use words like, it's very bad. I always tell you how bad, how awful, how terrible my Japanese ability is. And this is interesting because if somebody said whose language ability is better, yours or your wife's, I would say we're probably around the same level. There was a time when my language ability was better. Then she caught up to me, and I think because recently, as I mentioned before, I've been a bit lazy and I've been speaking a lot more English. Maybe her abilities took over mine a little bit, but basically we're around about the same level, the same ability, language ability, speaking ability, listening ability, whatever. Actually, her reading is better than mine because she doesn't have to read all of the complicated characters that I have to read. She only had to learn, 26 characters in the alphabet? So yeah, her reading is better than mine. Fair enough. Okay. So, isn't it weird how when I talk about her English to other people, I say, ooh, it's very good. I say, ooh, I'm impressed by it. And when I talk about my English to people, my English is amazing. It's not bad, really. When I talk about my Japanese to people, I say, oh, it's terrible. It's really bad. I've got a long, long way to go. But yet, I think we're both roughly at the same level. That's really strange, isn't it? And I only realized this the other day when I was recording a podcast for you. And I thought, what? Why? Why do I look upon my own language ability? Why do I think my own language ability is so bad? And I think that's just part of how I think everyone does it. I don't know about everyone. Maybe some people have tons and tons of confidence. Maybe they're too confident, overconfident. And they say, yeah, my language ability is amazing, but they're not that good. I have met people like that before. But let's take my wife, for example. If she tells you, if you ask her, what's your language ability like? She'll say, oh, it's no good. It's terrible. Not very good. So I think we all do this. But what kind of a negative impact is this going to have? What kind of a negative effect is this going to have on us learning a language and us practicing a language if we constantly think, if we're always thinking, oh, my language ability isn't very good, my English isn't, my English is good, is bad, my English speaking is terrible. If we're always thinking that, that's going to have a negative effect on us, I think. And I don't know about you, but me, personally, I want to try and stop doing that, which is going to be very hard to do, because I am just the kind of person who always says to someone that my whatever ability is very bad, and it can be anything. I mean, my day job, I'm a programmer. I went to college and studied programming there, and at university as well. And I do it every single day. And if someone asks me, "Are you good at programming?" I'll say, "I'm okay." and that's like, I think that's as good as like the highest rating that I will give myself, like the highest praise that I will give to myself. Okay. So I don't say like, yeah, I'm pretty good. I never say that about anything. Like I say, it depends on the person, but I do think there are lots of us, and certainly many people listening to this podcast who will be the same, who will have like a reasonably good level of English, you know? And I'm sure many people will even find it impressive, but still, you'll just say it's terrible. Or you'll believe... Well, actually, there's two things here. There's two things going on. One is maybe you're a modest person, and so you don't want to, you don't want to sound like you're bragging. You don't want to sound like you're showing off. Like, yeah, my English is pretty good, actually. That's... I didn't... maybe if you are like that, that's okay. But yeah, I'm not the type of person who likes to show off or likes to brag so much. Maybe I'm somewhat modest. I won't say like very modest, but a little bit modest. So there's two things going on. One is you want to be modest. You don't want to show off, and so you sort of like say, it's okay. My English is okay. Not great. But then the second thing that's happening, and that's the bad thing, I think, is when you say, my English is terrible, and you believe it, So it's one thing like adjusting your answer so that you're not showing off, adjusting your answer so that you're being modest when you're speaking to other people about your English ability. But there's another thing, it's another thing altogether, entirely different thing when you actually believe that your English ability is bad. And that's the bit that I want to stop doing. I want to stop believing. Well, I don't know, do I believe my Japanese is bad? Why do I always say it's bad. Like I said, when I talk to people, I always say my Japanese is bad. Sometimes I have these moments when I don't know, I'm watching some TV or something and it's in Japanese and I'm not really paying attention. I'm not trying to understand it. And then I notice like, it's just like entering my brain, I'm just understanding it. And I think, wow, my Japanese is getting better. But yeah, would I say it was good? Honestly, would I say it was good? See, I say my wife's English is good. And I say I'm at the same level as her. So really, I should say my Japanese is good too, shouldn't I? But I'm uncomfortable saying that, to be honest. I don't know why. I don't know why. It's like a hard thing to say. I think it's because I understand more than anyone else all of the problems in my Japanese. Every time I'm studying, I'm trying to fix or like improve those problems a bit, aren't I? So perhaps I can see all of these like areas that need improvement, and so that's why I don't say I'm good. But really, I need to upgrade my ranking, my rating, like upgrade what I think about my Japanese ability, because I think having a more positive like way of looking at my own language ability, I think that's going to help a lot. I think that's going to help with many things, like motivation to learning a language. Isn't it more fun? Isn't it more... Don't you want to learn a language more when you think, I'm actually pretty good at learning a language? Maybe you want to speak more if you think, yeah, I'm not that bad at speaking. Maybe you want to read more if you think you're not that bad at reading, and so on and so on. But on the other hand, if you think, really not great at reading, you don't want to read. you think you're bad. You think it's hard. You think it's difficult. The same for speaking and listening and everything. So I think having this sort of positive, more positive opinion about your own language ability is going to help a lot. And it's something I really want to try and work towards for myself. So I'm going to try and... I'm not going to say that my language ability is great. I'm not going to say my Japanese is great. But I'll try and say it's good. Or not too bad from now on. Instead of giving an answer like, it's terrible. I'm going to get away from the really negative answers, because it's just not helping us. So it's not helping me. It's not helping you. So that is it. That is my podcast for today. That is the episode. Today's episode. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. This thing that I've only just realized when I've been studying for many years now.